Good morning, everyone. A new medical device is helping some people move and get around more. Max Darrow takes a look at how it works.
It's pretty nice.
It is. It's beautiful over there.
Yeah.
This is Jan Grierson's happy place, the bluffs overlooking Half Moon Bay.
I love everything about it here.
However, up until a few weeks ago, they'd been off limits to her for around 15 years.
I have a lifelong condition of cerebral palsy, and it has impacted my gait such that I have a lot of foot drop and a lot of difficulty moving.
But innovation is countering that impact with a more powerful one.
My whole vista has opened up and changed. It's really amazing.
Jan wears this leg sleeve every day. It uses electrical stimulation to activate the major muscles in her leg. It helps her walk everywhere, including out to her happy place.
I feel like I'm in the middle of a medical miracle. I really do.
The technology that is changing Jan's life was invented by a San Francisco-based company called Psionic. The company's founder has a personal understanding of why this technology can make an enormous difference.
12 years ago now, my daughter was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. It was really crutches, wheelchairs, walkers. These were the only options available to my daughter. And it just felt like, if not me, who? And if not now, when?
The technology is called the Psionic Neural Sleeve. The FDA cleared it in March. It's linked to an app for users to see. The invention is the first of its kind.
There's 35 million Americans who have impaired mobility, and we have an opportunity to really transform their mobility, their engagement in the community.
We have turned back time. You know, that's the remarkable thing.
Jan has found a new version of herself.
I just feel so fortunate, just incredibly lucky.
And when she goes out to her happy place, it's not just her mobility that's being restored.
You don't walk with someone when you're with a walker. They want to make space for you, and so you're walking on your own. The difference with the sleeve is that I can link arms with my loved ones, and that degree of closeness has been restored. That's amazing for me.
In Half Moon Bay, Max Darrow, KPIX 5.
A new study finds more than 10 million adults have tried to get help for addiction to gambling. Naomi Ruckham explains how gambling is becoming a global public health concern.
New research shows gambling addiction is a very prevalent problem around the world, with 1 in every 400 adults seeking help. Data in the scientific journal Addiction looked at dozens of studies over the past decade. Findings show that when it comes to moderate risk gamblers, 1 in 25 reach out for help. But for those who have a gambling problem, 1 in 5 seek help. The National Council on Problem Gambling estimates 2 million adults in the United States have a gambling addiction, and another 4 to 6 million are considered to have mild or moderate gambling problems. Approximately 85% of adults have gambled at least once in their lives, 60% in the past year. With sports betting now legal in about 35 states, the National Problem Gambling Helpline Network says last year it experienced a 45% jump in calls from the year prior. Experts say a person should seek help if they feel the need to be secretive about their gambling, have trouble controlling their gambling and can't walk away, they gamble even when they don't have the money, or if family or friends are worried. Experts recommend a wide array of treatment options for gambling addiction, including professional and non-professional treatment, along with self-help. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
And some form of gambling is legal in 48 states and the District of Columbia. Only Hawaii and Utah have completely outlawed gambling of any kind. All right, Claire Onan joins us next with what you need to watch out for with tick bites. Mid-morning, we'll be right back. All right, welcome back, everyone. You may have heard about this and wondered if it's even real. A tick bite can lead to meat allergies in some people. It's called alpha-gal syndrome. Claire Mallory Onan is licensed acupuncturist, and she joins us this morning to talk about alpha-gal syndrome and what you need to know about it. Claire, great to have you back at the table.
Thank you.
So this conversation has come up in our newsroom before because we've learned of someone who actually suffered from this, and it's really a phenomenon that's not as uncommon as we thought.
Not at all.
All right, so tell us exactly what it is, this allergic reaction.
Okay, so, well, alpha-gal is a molecule that's carried in
all mammals except primates. And so when a tick crawls on one of those and bites it, that's transferred to their saliva. And
Okay.
when the tick crawls on you, it can be transferred to you.
Okay.
And so over time, if you've bitten by the tick, and it can be the Lone Star tick or the deer tick, and now they're saying chiggers too.
And chiggers are everywhere.
Yes, they are. And those ticks are everywhere down here too. So you can develop an allergy to mammalian products. So it's not just meat, it's also all their byproducts.
So if I'm bitten by this tick or the chiggers, does it automatically mean I'm going to have this allergic reaction, or does it vary from person to person?
It probably varies from person to person, but we really don't know enough about it yet. It was only this year that the CDC declared this a syndrome. Up until now, it's been called an allergy. So there will be a lot more research coming out, but there's a lot of information online that you can find. For the most part, it's understood that everybody develops it if they're bitten by it to some degree.
One of the tricky things about it is that, as you mentioned to me, it is a delayed reaction, so you may not have symptoms right away. So what are the symptoms?
So the symptoms can vary from very, very mild, a runny nose or a little rash here or there, to anaphylactic shock. It could be respiratory, so you could have shortness of breath, wheezing, you could have sneezing, you can have headaches, you can have diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, bloating, pain, joint pain, horrible skin rashes. I mean, it kind of runs the gamut, and so it can be very hard to diagnose if your doctor isn't thinking alpha-gal.
Right. So at what point then would a person who's having the allergic reaction to it know about this aversion to meat and meat byproducts? You know?
We got to get the word out, and more doctors, especially down here, are kind of getting more aware of it. So, and that's good. We have a lot of doctors who send people to us too, so that's good. But it is also complicated because when you have a reaction to meat or a byproduct of meat, the reaction can be up to 8 to 12 hours later. So it can get very, very difficult.
And you may be thinking, you know, you've eaten something and you start having some symptoms later. You're not thinking, oh, something bit me earlier, this is why I'm having it. You may just think, maybe I had a bad piece of meat, or, you know.
Yeah, we have patients who've had this for years and years, and they can remember their tick bite. I had a tick bite years ago that I still remember, and so, but it hasn't been kind of in the forefront until recently. So a lot of people have been struggling with this and going from doctor to doctor and ER to ER, and nobody's figuring this out.
Well, you're the bearer of some good news, at least on the front of trying to treat this. Tell us about that.
I am. There is no conventional medicine treatment except for avoidance, which is a problem because this is in medications, it's in supplements, it's in laundry detergents. So it's hard to avoid, but there's a type of acupuncture that can treat the symptoms of alpha-gal.
Okay.
And so it involves one tiny little needle in your ear for 3 weeks, and the vast majority who undergo this treatment are able to go back to eating meat, or at least not worrying about cross-contamination.
So what does the acupuncture actually do?
Well, I can tell you what the effects are.
Okay.
I don't think we know enough about it. The doctor who developed this, he's a medical doctor, and he's also a medical acupuncturist. And he developed this protocol. It's a combination of acupuncture and homeopathy. And what it does is it desensitizes your body basically to the allergen, and so, which is what we do, what an allergist does with allergy treatments. They're introducing tiny amounts of the allergen, and so this is doing it the same way but homeopathically.
The great thing about it is you have had patients who have seen some positive results from this, right? What are they saying to you?
Oh my gosh. I just had someone in the other day, a big old guy who is not a hugger, and he had to give me like 5 or 6 hugs because he's been eating steak again. But you know, a lot of people just come because they don't want to worry. You know, you can't go out and eat.
Sure.
You can order vegetables on the grill, but if they're on the grill with a hamburger 10 minutes before, you know, you can
Same
be in the
effect
ER
there.
later. Yeah.
All right. Well, as you said, a part of this segment is about awareness because we're just learning more about it. If people want to know more information, what's your suggestion?
I'm trying to constantly update my website, so they could start there at starkvilleacupuncture.com.
Okay.
And then there is a wealth of information on the internet about it. That you can try the CDC. They're still building all of their information too, but I would definitely go to their website too.
And really, we don't know what we don't know at this point.
Yeah,
really.
there's
That's the thing
so
about
much
it.
still to learn about it.
All right. Well,
It's a
it's good to know
horrible
there's
thing.
hope,
Yes.
and that you can provide a treatment that gives people relief. So we appreciate you enlightening us on it.
Thank you. Thank you
Good
for
to see
having
you.
me.
All right. right. All right, coming up, home at last, the golden years for these elephants. That story is next on Mid Morning. When the pandemic shut down tourism around the world, it brought hard times for the travel industry, especially in developing countries like Thailand. One woman who is a conservationist and founder of Thailand's Elephant Nature Park saw an opportunity. Elizabeth Palmer shows us how she was able.
Let Chylert loves elephants.
This is what she wants. I'm sorry about it. She's a big boss here.
And they love her right back. She's the founder of Thailand's oldest elephant sanctuary.
She like to communicate.
What's she saying to you, though?
I don't know.
Before COVID, it was a magnet for foreign tourists who paid to see these animals roaming free. But the pandemic wiped out both tourism and the money it brought in. For 2 years, the only visitors have been a few volunteers, like A.J. Hill from California, determined to help Chylert Sanctuary as a humane alternative to cruel elephant circuses.
The way that they have to train the elephants is they like abuse them. They straight up, they put nails in their ears and they chain them up so they can't move anywhere. It's upsetting.
Chylert's animals are all elderly, formerly abused, or unwell, so looking after them is expensive.
She's got cancer, this one?
Cancer.
COVID dealt a double whammy to Lek. Suddenly she was dealing with a lot less money and many more mouths to feed.
30 extra animals were dropped off here during the pandemic by owners who could no longer afford them.
They just left them here.
They just left them here, yes.
So Chylert added them to the family and made sure somehow that the food wouldn't run short. In the kitchen, it's all hands on deck, right down to the littlest. The sanctuary grew some of its own food. More came from local farmers, and upward of $1 million rolled in from donors, especially in the United States.
COVID has been a disaster in many ways. But you said for you it's brought something good.
Yeah, COVID brought also positive to elephant living in Thailand.
Specifically, it brought a lull in mass elephant tourism. And Chylert spotted an opportunity. On the property next door, elephants used to perform for up to 2,000 tourists a day. But when the tour buses stopped coming and the elephant riding saddles sat idle, Chylert convinced the owners to take off the chains and turn this place into a sanctuary too. When we visited, Tom the vet was dodging a very protective mom to dab ointment on her 2-day-old baby. He may not grow up in the wild, but thanks to Lek Chylert, none of these animals will have to do tricks in a circus. Like her own elephants, they'll be free to roam in a protected home. Elizabeth Palmer, CBS News.
Just ahead, honoring a veteran whose service still inspires. Mid-morning, we'll be right back. A remarkable story of service and sacrifice and long overdue recognition for a World War II veteran. Crescencia Garcia is 102 years old, one of the last surviving members of an all-female, all-black unit that served in England during the war. It is the only military women's unit to receive the Congressional Gold Medal, and Garcia's role in its vital mission is finally coming to light thanks to her granddaughter. David Beckno has her story.
Kind of crazy.
2 years ago, I received a message from Tara Garcia.
Hi, David.
She told me that her grandmother, Crescencia, had beaten COVID at the age of 100. Now, that was at the beginning of the pandemic, and we all needed good news then. So I tweeted about it and included pictures that Tara had sent to me, one of which included her grandmother in a military uniform.
I just knew that she was a veteran and that she was in the Army and that she was very proud.
That tweet went viral, and it was seen by retired Army Colonel Edna Cummings.
It was like being in a casino and hitting the jackpot.
She started connecting some dots and reached out to Garcia's family. She spoke to Tara.
She says, let's start here. Give me her dog tag numbers and we'll compare them.
As it turns out,
She was in a burn unit about 30 kilometers from Birmingham, England, treating soldiers because it was just such a manpower shortage all over, Europe.
get this. Crescencia Garcia is one of only 6 surviving members of an all-female, all-black segregated unit that was sent overseas during World War II. Known as the 6888, the 855 women that served in that unit are now receiving long overdue recognition.
They're the only military women's unit to receive the Congressional Gold Medal. They are part of an elite group of less than 200 recipients, the first being General George Washington.
And I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. And everything matched up. And I looked at my parents and I was like, I think we just opened Pandora's box here.
They sure did. They found out that Miss Garcia's name is on a monument at Fort Leavenworth in Kansas. Now, as the family's finding out about all this, I had no clue. I never heard from Tara again. I got a call from the good folks at Oprah Daily. In fact, I was here at home, and they said, David, we were just pitched about a story involving a 102-year-old woman who served during World War II, and her family is only now learning stories that they'd never heard before. So my team said, we got to do something. So they called Tara, and we had a surprise. May I say hello?
Oh, dude.
How are you? I have wanted to meet you.
Are you kidding?
Surprise. Oh, the pleasure is mine. The pleasure is mine.
You don't understand. You don't understand.
Well, I came to listen.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I feel the same. Miss Crescencia, my name is David.
David?
David.
Hi, David.
Hi. It's very nice to meet you. It's an honor, actually.
Is it?
To meet you. It is.
Good for you.
She enlisted in the U.S. Army at the age of 24 after being enraged by the bombing of Pearl Harbor. The Army sent her to Texas for basic training.
They put me in the black section, and there is the white section. That's America to you. See? That's America to you. And it's very sad, you know? Very sad.
I want to talk about your service.
Wasn't much.
It wasn't much?
No, I was just a medic.
You were a medic.
Yeah, I was just to take care of the herd.
The herd.
You know, when they came in, I took care of them.
Thank you for your service.
You're welcome. I am proud to be an American.
What is this moment like for you?
I am delighted that everyone gets to see what I see. Because some people don't get it until you actually experience it and see it.
You don't live to be 102 without being a spark plug.
I mean, right? You're full of life. You are full of life.
He said 102? Oh my God.
You just reminded her how old
Be
she
careful, because you'll be my grandson.
Oh, you look great. You look great.
Thank you.
Mrs. Garcia was born in Puerto Rico on April 18, 1920. A loaf of bread cost you 12 cents then. Woodrow Wilson was the president, and women didn't have the right to vote. When World War II began, she told us she had already moved to New York City and felt a patriotic duty to serve her country. After the war, she married Esteban Garcia II, an Army veteran himself. They raised 3 children in the Bronx. She spent her post-war work years working as a seamstress and a pattern maker in New York City's garment district. Her husband died in 1994 after 47 years of marriage.
That's my grandfather.
Let me see this handsome man. Now, we had arranged for a little surprise for Mrs. Garcia, but the surprise timeline was a little off and she was getting a little restless. So what were we going to do?
You want scotch?
Scotch.
I have Johnny Walker.
Johnny Walker.
You want one? Yeah?
Yeah, Johnny
She wants a scotch.
Does she really? Can we cheers?
We're going to have a toast.
Okay.
A toast to you
To me.
at 102.
Thank you to you and 102.
Yes.
Cheers.
Salud.
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 Finally, the phone rang. So I have one other surprise for you. Can you answer that, please?
Hello? Tara? Hi, how are you? It's Jill Biden. How are you doing?
Hi. I'm great. How are you?
I'm great too. I hear you have a very special grandmother.
I do.
Hello.
Hi, it's Jill Biden.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
wow. My salute for you, woman.
Oh.
You're the one that needs to be celebrated. You are one incredible woman, and I can't thank you enough for all your service to our country.
And I salute you. Keep it up. Keep up the good work.
Oh.
I'm trying to follow in your footsteps and in your example.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tara, for sharing this moment with me and with all of America.
Thank you so much.
Love you
It's
both.
really nice to meet you. Take care.
Love you.
Mrs. Garcia's memory is fading, but let me tell you, in that moment, she was fully present. How amazing was that?
The fact that she knew who that was.
Yeah.
And she felt that acknowledgement just now. That's all I needed. That's all I needed. I just want her to remember. That's all.
David Begno, CBS News.
Wow. We'll be right back to wrap things up. All right, stay connected with us. We'd love to hear from you. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We'll see you next time.